Azerbaijan, but controlled by Armenia.
It was sort of a surreal moment, but maybe it lasted for just 5 to 10 minutes, and
That's
soon
correct.
we were out in the open, out of the clouds, and the view was just stunning. But our pilot also took out her phone and started clicking pictures. Yeah, this monastery is located on top of the cliff. That's okay. We finally got the view.
We finally got the view. Hey there, this is We the Trippers. This video covers our third day in Armenia and also marks the final part of our Georgia and Armenia travel series.
We started our day very early in the morning around 7:30 as it was going to be a very long day trip from Yerevan.
Mhm.
We were excited as we wanted to get the glimpse of Mount Ararat. This was a third day in Armenia, but we still hadn't seen Mount Ararat, right?
That's correct, because every time we had a look at Mount Ararat, it was covered with clouds. We never got the full visibility, unfortunately. So, this was our last and final day where we had to be lucky.
Yeah, but unfortunately, today also it was covered with clouds, and so we decided to move on and cover it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we made a small change to our plan. So from Yerevan, we directly went to Tatev, and then on the way back, we covered Noravank and Khorvirap to see Mount Ararat. But on the way, we found this very interesting place called Karki, which is basically under the control of Armenia, but it is marked as Azerbaijan on maps as well. So it is basically Azerbaijan, but controlled by Armenia.
Yeah, this seemed to be a bit of a conflicted land, and we were expecting a lot of military checkpoints, but there was nothing of that sort, right?
I mean, zero military presence here, and I was expecting that there would be a lot of restrictions. You cannot step down, you cannot stop here, you cannot look around, you cannot take photos.
This place was beautiful and quite uninhabited, right?
Yeah, I mean, they evacuated the village during the last conflict. So, very, very bare minimum population here, but yeah, it's very scenic.
Yeah, and this piece of frame is worth getting up and taking a shot. But on that particular day, it was quite windy.
Yeah, we were barely able to climb it.
Yeah.
So, in spite of the route being so scenic, we decided that we will not make any more stops because Tate was still far away. And yeah, but the route was really scenic, and all we could do was sit in the car and enjoy the view.
Yeah, this place somewhat reminded me of Kyrgyzstan because Armenia also has that similar Soviet influence. And landscape wise, the grasslands, the snow capped mountains were very similar to Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, but there were no horses on the way.
Yeah, no horses, and also the roads were much, much better.
The roads were, of course, better. I think if you are planning for a trip to Armenia, you should definitely uh, try to drive yourself because it's a delight to drive on these roads in these beautiful landscape. But yeah, just before entering the Tatev village, there was a small stretch of road that was riddled with potholes, and that completed our Kyrgyzstan experience here.
Yeah, that's right. So finally, we reached Tatev around 11:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we wanted to take the cable car up to the monastery. So this Tatev cable ride is actually the world's longest reversible cable car ride.
Yeah, that's correct. It's the longest reversible cable car, and it's listed in the Guinness Book of World Records.
And it's also special because actually a pilot or a driver kind of operates it.
From within the cable car.
Yes, yes, from within the cable car. And this car can hold around 15 to 20 people inside, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's not exactly a car, you can call it a minibus.
Yeah. When we started, there was no visibility at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was more interested on the panel, I mean, the kind of controls it had in the cable car. But yeah, there was barely anything to look outside because it was completely covered with clouds.
Yeah, it was sort of a surreal moment, but maybe it lasted for just 5 to 10 minutes, and
That's
soon
correct.
we were out in the open, out of the clouds, and the view was just stunning.
Of course, you can actually drive to the monastery via these winding roads, but I think you will still miss out on the aerial view if you skip the cable car. So, cable car is something that is definitely recommended in Tatev.
Yeah, and I remember we were not the only ones excited to see this view, but our pilot also took out her phone and started clicking pictures.
Yeah, this was funny because she gets to see this almost multiple times in a day, and yeah, I mean, she taking pictures of this place is quite funny and intriguing at the same time.
Yeah, and the ride itself was pretty long. It
Very long ride.
took
Yeah.
around 15 minutes, 15 more than that, 15
Yeah,
20 minutes.
I think the distance is about 7 kilometers here, and when you look back, the point of origin, you can't even see from here.
Yeah. So soon we were up there, and it was still a race with the clouds, right?
Yeah, the clouds were still chasing us, and we really did not want to repeat our Kazbegi experience. So, after getting down from the cable car, we literally ran to the monastery because the clouds were chasing us, and the priority was to capture as many drone shots as possible. And some of the drone shots came out really nice. I mean, very spectacular, very dramatic too.
Yeah, I mean, this monastery is located on top of the cliff, and that's why the drone views are just simply stunning.
And the monastery itself is quite old, dates back to I think the 12th or the 13th century. They used to have these courses around mathematics and science in this monastery. It's really interesting to see that so many years back there were students studying in this monastery without any electricity in such harsh weather. But the monastery itself and the cathedral is very nice and gives you a very nice vibe, although very similar to the cathedrals that we saw in Georgia and Armenia as well.
There was one interesting thing in this monastery, and it had a museum as well.
That's right. Yeah, the museum was more or less like a small cave. All the kachkars and the artifacts in that museum were just kept out in the open without any glass enclosures. So the tourists, I would say, have been very, very civil with it. Any other place you would find it either taken away or a lot of graffiti around it.
Yeah, maybe engraved with their names.
Yeah.
To go back, we had to take the same cable car ride. Our son was not very excited for this.
Yeah, he had a completely different impression about this cable car ride in his mind. He wanted the chairlift experience where his legs and hands would be out in the open and he can actually feel the air, the clouds, and stuff. So, yeah, this was way too restrictive for him behind a glass compartment.
Yeah, no doubt that one was a lot more adventurous. And while going back, we saw these apricot plantations.
Yeah, these plantations are part of the Armenia Tree Project, and it is really nice to see that Armenia focuses on keeping Tatev consistently green in spite of it already being so nice in terms of the natural flora. Yeah,
It was time for lunch.
yeah, time for lunch. And we asked our driver to take us to some local place. Yeah, we wanted to try something Armenian, and he took us to his in law's place.
I mean, it was his in law's village, and this was somebody's home, and they had these wide range of local wines, churchkelas, pickles. Everything on the plate was delicious.
Absolutely. I must say, quite a lot of variety on the table. And there was something about the potatoes, right?
Yeah. You want to you want to tell the potato story?
Yeah, while we were having our lunch, the host came and asked if we would like to try some grilled potatoes from their underground oven. It turned out to be 10 huge potatoes.
Yeah, the quantity was just too much, maybe for around 4 to 5 people.
That's correct.
But I must mention that the taste was really great. They were grilled and rubbed with some local Armenian spices. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish it all and we had to pack it for dinner.
Yeah.
Our next destination was Noravang Monastery. This particular monastery had a very beautiful reddish canyon backdrop. I think it'll be really beautiful during sunset or sunrises.
So the next part of our itinerary was to visit Khor primarily because we wanted to see Mount Ararat.
But actually, the Mount Ararat is not even in Armenia, it's in Turkey.
Khor is almost on the Armenia-Turkey border, right?
Yes. Mount Ararat is really special to the Christians, right?
Yes, that's correct. And as per whatever that I know from the Bible, Mount Ararat was the place where Noah's Ark finally landed.
Yes, that's right. So that's why Armenia is called the cradle of Christianity, because they were apparently the first Christians of the world.
And if I'm not wrong, I think in Jerusalem, in the old city, we saw an Armenian church as well.
In fact, they do have an entire quarter, an Armenian quarter in Jerusalem,
Quarter,
which is one of the 4 quarters in Jerusalem.
Yeah, so it does have a lot of history.
That's right.
Something very interesting about Khor village was these electricity poles having the stork nests.
I think you also tried to peep into their nests with your drone.
Yeah, I tried doing that. Anyways, we finally got to see Mount Ararat, but still with some clouds.
Yes, at least the little Ararat, we were able to view it, but not the main Ararat mountain.
Yeah, the little Ararat has this perfect mountain shape, right? And the strokes of snow looked as if it was kind of a painting. So, anyways, we got to see Mount Ararat with clouds, but yeah, that's the nature's wish.
Yeah. This Khor monastery is one of the most holy places in Armenia, and it was also being visited by a lot of locals.
Yeah, a lot of locals were there, and when I started taking drone shots, I think they all flocked around and they wanted to see the view.
Yeah.
Alright, so that marks the end of our day, and the next morning we headed back to Georgia.
While going back, this was the day when we actually saw Mount Ararat in its glory.
Absolutely. No clouds, clear sky, but with poles and electricity cables.
That's okay. We finally got the view.
We finally got the view. Alright, so what next? We will be posting some new videos very soon about.
A trip to Iceland. The Iceland videos are going to be very interesting.
So please do subscribe, like this video, and keep traveling. That's more important.
And you guys can also mention in the comment section how do you want us to improve.
Absolutely. Alright, so that's about it. Keep traveling, and goodbye for now.
Bye bye.